presidential candidate for the Students Unite Party.
My name is Brianna Kitchings, and I'm the Vice Presidential Candidate for Students Unite.
Okay. Could you both tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a senior here at Wichita State studying political science and international studies, economics minor, and done a lot of things on campus. I'm currently the Student Ambassador Society president. I've been an orientation leader for a couple of years and just been involved at many different levels.
I'm a junior here at Wichita State. I'm an elementary education major and an early childhood development major. I'm involved in Gamma Phi Beta, the Women's Panoramic Association. I've been involved in student government for the past 2 years.
What really went into our party and what was my expectation when building a ticket was trying to find students that came from different backgrounds than myself and from Brianna. So we really tried to go across the university, look at different kinds of students. So we have Greeks and non-Greeks, we have international students, domestic students from all over different kinds of majors, different perspectives, some having served in SGA before, some having not. And I think we have done a good job of bringing together people with different ideas and interests. And I really appreciate when I ask, what should our party be about? I'm not the only one talking, Bree's not the only one talking. We're all at the table together, and I really am excited by what we hope to do and what we stand for together. Because it's not just any one of us that represents our party, we're a whole. I think the most important thing at this time for student government is really understanding that we are a campus in transition. We have a new president that's just come in. We have campus plans that are going to be unveiled tomorrow, in fact, or in 2 days, I should say. And there are lots of things that are up in the air, a lot of construction projects that we're currently engaged in, things that we want to do to our campus, things we want to do structurally and changing how we do our academics even, who we hire and how we proceed in the future, what kind of new programs we have. So all to say, student government should be about advocating student issues in this process, talking to the administration actively to figure out what's on the table, what are they thinking about doing, and then how can we make sure that we are adding to that discussion, that we are representing the student perspective. And I think that's really going to be the defining factor, what SGA should and can do this next year.
Also, a big part of that is helping to transition the students through a time of big changes, and to be able to maybe have a simple poster up that say, hey, this is coming, this is going to be blocked off, and that seems so little, but that can be so big to the students as well.
Really, I think there's some overarching goals, and some of those are making SGA more transparent, or maybe changing how it's run, or adding maybe a new era of professionalism and responsibility to the office. But I think some short-term goals are going to be addressing the issue of student hunger on this campus. It's come to student government's attention as well as just campus at large. There are a lot of different groups working on this issue, and I really want to make it my business, our business, to address this issue and lead the charge to put that one away and really take decisive steps to help students on our campus figure out a way to feed themselves. Then there's just some longer term goals that we have. I want to pass a constitutional amendment. We haven't done that in 10 years, and our constitution is a little bit archaic and needs to be changed, needs to be updated. And even looking at new kinds of senators, I would like to see non-traditional students and international students represented on our Senate guaranteedly instead of by chance from year to year. I think when we came to the table together, it was about making a change from this last year. It was about saying, how do we want to spend our money? How careful do we want to be about those things? And we both have 2 years of experience in student government. We've both been directors and chairs and senators. And so we're going to try to bring that perspective back to SGA. I think for me personally, it was about applying what I know about campus, applying the relationships I've built over the years into serving the students in this capacity as student body president. And I really do feel like it's time to use my experiences, my ideas to better the student body.
It was a very similar case when we came together to talk about running. We didn't know what we wanted to do at first, but we had the same ideas of what we wanted the future SGA to be about, and so being that, we thought we'd be a great team as well, and I thought Darren would be a perfect candidate for president, so I was more than happy to run with him.
I think it's become clear that SGA has an internal communication problem. We have a lot of times where we don't know what everyone's doing. We don't have a clear set of goals for every position, and I think we cut off our potentiality. We don't do everything we could have done without empowering people to work, empowering people to be leaders in their own right, and to take on issues by themselves and run with them. And so my goal, if I were to be made president, is to really empower officers to do things that are important to them and really encourage them to take their own initiative, have more meetings, have more communication within the office, and really have coordinated efforts so we can set long and short-term goals and accomplish them within a year. If SGA isn't communicating within itself, we aren't going to be able to accomplish much. So that's going to be one change, at least in my mind.
And also to have an open door policy at all times and allow students to come in and be able to talk to us. Sometimes it may seem that they don't feel comfortable maybe walking in and talking to our current leaders of SGA. And so that's something that I really want to work on as well.
And beyond an open door policy and just saying, hey, we're here for you, is really asking students what's important to you. I think there are a lot of important issues that are at the table or on the table right now. And so I really want to see something in the first few months of the new year, engaging students with a survey and asking some questions about issues we might want to tackle, some issues and ideas we had coming into the office, but as well, what aren't we addressing, what aren't we aware of, and what can we help you with. So really, we want to have that open conversation that engages students where they're at. It's a fun question. After working in SGA for several years and seeing different presidents handle issues like this differently, I think this is all going to be boosted by making sure that the whole office knows what's going on and then making it available. I know we have a hard time with all the responsibilities we have keeping up with social media and our website and things like that, but making that priority number one when it comes to new decisions and new ideas is being open about them, and getting the student perspective on any and every issue is going to be important, not making decisions because we think they're important, but because everyone does. So communicating openly with our officers and then with Senate at large, and then making that kind of information available to the public is going to be important.
And it's team effort. The whole Senate really needs to be involved to do it. One person can't go out to all of the student body to make it. So we have some really excited our potential senators on our ticket, and I think it'd be a great year.
I think what we've experienced this year is a lot more students being aware of the funding they can get either for their organization or for their own travel, and we've never had in recent years the problems of running out of those funds as quickly or as early as we did. And so now that the demand is there, it's really making sure that we are making those funds available, making it easy to apply, and then being very clear when we expect that funding to run out. So it's really not a matter of we're overspending, it's we are coming to our limits faster. And so being very clear and open about that and marketing it well, continuing to do that, I think is going to be important. And then just having a long-term perspective, wanting to get as much of that money out as we can, while being fair to students to communicate, this is coming to an end. So I think it's a pretty simple issue. It's a good problem to have, I think, to come to the end of our funding. So just handling that, being clear. I sat on the student fees committee this year and then got to look at the budget last year. It's an important function. It's one of the most important things the student government does. And what we're experiencing in this time of economic recovery, being slow, we're really trying to have, the university has a really aggressive plan to grow and to expand. We're looking at having more students, higher numbers of new people coming to the university being students and adding new programs. And so to do that, we're going to have hopefully more student fees coming in, but we also have more requests as money gets tighter across the university. As we look at state funding staying the same or maybe going down, the burden on other sources of funding like student fees becomes much higher in demand. And so what we have to do is ask value questions, what's most important, and I don't think it's going to go down, but making sure that it's a responsible rise is going to be important. There are a lot of important programs that we fund, and so it's really impossible to say, oh, you don't get funding, or oh, you can't expect anymore. And so it's a dynamic process. Everything's becoming more expensive. So it's just asking the hard questions, and I think we're ready to do that. Currently holding the post of legislative director in student government, it's my job primarily to understand what's happening in Topeka and understand what the politics, the laws that are being addressed and possibly passed in Topeka could affect WCU as well as the colleges and universities in our state. I think there are a lot of issues every year that come up that need our attention, that need our input. As president and as a legislative director this past year, this current year, I go to Topeka every month to meet with the Kansas Board of Regents and a board of student leaders from across the state. And our job is to really understand what's happening, what kind of issues we want to get ourselves involved in, and then ask ourselves what level do we want to get involved in them. Another important time to do that is Higher Education Day. It's going to be another high priority this next year, is getting as many Wichita State students and college students from across the state to go to Topeka to speak to the legislators face to face. And so I don't know what issues are going to come up in the next year. Important things right now are the possibility of getting our budgets cut at the university level. Guns coming to campus is an important issue that we've talked about for several years now. So we'll really have to see what the new legislature brings, but I think making sure we're being vocal, we're being student leaders about this, and challenging the debate by adding new inputs and a student perspective is really the role SGA should play and will play, hopefully in the next year.
I believe SGA too is kind of like the mediator between the government and then the students itself. There's a lot of things that happen in Topeka that will directly affect us, and some students may not realize that. So I believe it's important for us as well to communicate that to the students.
It's been an ongoing issue, and we've addressed it over the last couple of years with the legislature. What we're seeing now are laws that are being passed that would allow it in the next 4 years on our campus. And so really it's kind of a done deal. What's left to us then is to do it responsibly and to make students aware of the changes coming. So it's an interesting issue. We don't quite know where campus stands on it. Student government has passed resolutions against having guns on campus over the last 2 years. There's not been any surveys done to ask students what they think about it by and large, but really we've advocated against that issue and not, with the position that guns should not be allowed on campus in the possession of students. And in the face of coming changes, I think that's where SGA is probably going to land again this next year. I don't want to be about in my presidency is saying what our position is going to be, but instead asking as a body, what are we going to decide? And if this comes up again, if this is a decision point in the next year, whether it's how we handle it on our campus or how we handle it with Topeka, depending on how things fall at the end of the session, we will proceed accordingly. We'll really try to, it's never been done. Let's ask the students what they think about the issue. Let's represent our campus, not just our ideas. And then vigorous debate, I think, is going to be important.
I think this is a very important issue to bring up within the next year, no matter which party wins. So.
SGA has been looking at the issue, the president has, the current president, Louis Carvajal, has been looking at the issue and has been talking to the administration on what their views are of possibly changing the policy on this campus. Once again, the problem with engaging the debate is that campus has not been asked. Students have not been able to give feedback on this issue. And so whether or not we proceed with a smoking ban, I think it's going to be necessary to send out, once again, a student survey to really understand the issue, and then to have public forums where students are able to come and represent either side of the issue. I wouldn't presume to say there will be a ban in the next year, because I don't think it's fair to represent campus by myself. So I think Bree shares the same perspective. That would be irresponsible.
It's very important to get the student's perspective, because my personal opinion may not be what the student body wants, and for me the number one priority is what the students want, not necessarily what I want.
So, and then the other thing is understanding the issue is not one-dimensional. It's not all smoking or no smoking. There's issues or ideas in the middle, coming up with zones on campus to smoke, parts of campus where you can, where you can't. The problem with the current policy is that it's unenforceable. So I think we are doing we can do ourselves a favor by figuring out a policy that's going to benefit everyone and really give everyone a way to enjoy the freedom, a way to do what they want to do while respecting everyone's rights. So this is a debate yet to be had. It's a very important relationship. The levels of funding that they receive from student government means that they have an important job to do. They put on over 200 events every year. My personal relationships with people in that office are good, and I mean to keep it that way. And I really don't see SGA's job to do their job, but better to show someone up. I really want to figure out how our administration could partner with that office and figure out how we could improve our relationships, how we could use each other in the areas that we're good in. They're good at event planning. We have money and ideas. What if we came together and really engaged the past year's problems between SGA and SAC and student involvement at large by coming to the table. I think that we're well positioned to do that. That was on our minds when we were recruiting our ticket as well.
I personally do have a very good relationship with student involvement, just being from other organizations that I'm involved in, and I think it's very important to work with them as well. They have great ideas, we have great ideas, why shouldn't we collaborate together?